Shalom. Welcome to the Bible in a Year Live Tanakh Project. Today we're reading 2 Chronicles 18 to 20 from the Names of God Bible. My name is Shane. Let's dive into today's reading. 2 Chronicles chapter 18. Micaiah prophesies against King Ahab. Jehoshaphat was wealthy and honorable and became Ahab's in-law. A few years later, he went to visit Ahab in Samaria. Ahab slaughtered many sheep and cattle for a banquet in honor of Jehoshaphat and the people who were with him. And Ahab persuaded Jehoshaphat to attack Ramoth in Gilead with him. King Ahab of Israel asked King Jehoshaphat of Judah, "Will you go with me to Ramoth in Gilead?" Jehoshaphat told the king of Israel, "I will do what you do. My troops will do what your troops do. We will join your troops in battle." Then Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, "But first, find out what the word of Yahweh is in this matter." So the king of Israel called 400 prophets together. He asked them, "Should we go to war against Ramoth in Gilead or not?" "Go," they said. "Elohim will hand over Ramoth to you." But Jehoshaphat asked, "Isn't there a prophet of Yahweh whom we could ask?" The king of Israel told Jehoshaphat, "We can ask Yahweh through Micaiah, son of Imlah, but I hate him. Nothing he prophesies about me is good, it's always evil." Jehoshaphat answered, "The king must not say that." The king of Israel called for an officer and said, "Quick, get Micaiah, son of Imlah." The king of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah were dressed in royal robes and seated on thrones. They were sitting on the threshing floor at the entrance to the gate of Samaria. All the prophets were prophesying in front of them. Zedekiah, son of Chenaniah, made iron horns and said, "This is what Yahweh says. With these horns you will push the Arameans to their destruction." All the other prophets made the same prophecy. They said, "Attack Ramoth in Gilead, and you will win. Yahweh will hand it over to you." The messenger who went to call Micaiah told him, "The prophets have all told the king the same good message. Make your message agree with their message. Say something good." Micaiah answered, "I solemnly swear, as Yahweh lives, I will tell him whatever my Elohim says to me." When he came to the king asked him, "Micaiah, should we go to war against Ramoth in Gilead or not?" Micaiah said, "Attack and you will win. They will be handed over to you." The king asked, "How many times must I make you take an oath in Yahweh's name to tell me nothing but the truth?" So Micaiah said, "I saw Israel's troops scattered in the hills like sheep without a shepherd. Yahweh said, 'These sheep have no master. Let each one go home in peace.'" The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Didn't I tell you he wouldn't prophesy anything good about me?" Micaiah added, "Then hear the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and the entire army of heaven was standing on his right and his left." Yahweh asked, "Who will deceive King Ahab of Israel so that he will attack and be killed at Ramoth in Gilead?" Some answered one way, while others were saying something else. Then the rock stepped forward, stood in front of Yahweh and said, "I will deceive him." "How?" Yahweh asked. The rock answered, "I will go out and be a spirit that tells lies through the mouths of all of Ahab's prophets." Yahweh said, "You will succeed in deceiving him. Go and do it." So Yahweh has put into the mouths of these prophets of yours a spirit that makes them tell lies. Yahweh has spoken evil about you. Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, went to Micaiah and struck him on the cheek. "Which way did the rock go when he left me to talk to you?" he asked. Micaiah answered, "You'll find out on the day you go into an inner room to hide." The king of Israel then said, "Send Micaiah back to Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the prince. Say, this is what the king says. Put this man in prison and feed him nothing but bread and water until I return home safely." Micaiah said, "If you really do come back safely, then Yahweh wasn't speaking through me. Pay attention to this, everyone." So the king of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah went to Ramoth in Gilead. The king of Israel told Jehoshaphat, "I will disguise myself and go into battle, but you should wear your royal robes." So the king of Israel disguised himself and went into battle. The king of Aram had given orders to the chariot commanders. He said, Don't fight anyone except the king of Israel. When the chariot commanders saw Jehoshaphat, they said, He must be the king of Israel. So they surrounded him in order to fight him. But when Jehoshaphat cried out, Yahweh helped him. Elohim drew them away from him, and the chariot commanders realized that Jehoshaphat wasn't the king of Israel. Then they turned away from him. One man aimed his bow at random and hit the king of Israel between his scale armor and his breastplate. Ahab told the chariot driver, Turn around and get me away from these troops. I am badly wounded. But the battle got worse that day, and the king propped himself up in the chariot facing the Arameans until evening. At sundown he died. Chapter 19. King Jehoshaphat's religious reforms. King Jehoshaphat of Judah returned safely to his home in Jerusalem. Jehu, son of the seer, Hanani, asked King Jehoshaphat, Why do you help wicked people and love those who hate Yahweh? Yahweh's anger is directed toward you because you have done this. However, you have done some good things. You've burnt Asherah poles in this country, and you've wholeheartedly dedicated your life to serving Elohim. While Jehoshaphat was living in Jerusalem, he regularly went to the people between Beersheba and the mountains of Ephraim. He brought the people back to Yahweh Elohim of their ancestors. He appointed judges in the country, in each fortified city of Judah. He told the judges, Pay attention to what you're doing. When you judge, you aren't doing it for a human, but for Yahweh. He will be with you when you hear a case. May you have the fear of Yahweh in you. Be careful about what you do. Yahweh or Elohim is never unjust. He is impartial and never takes bribes. In Jerusalem, Jehoshaphat also appointed some Levites, priests, and family heads from Israel to administer Yahweh's laws and decide cases. They lived in Jerusalem. He ordered them, Do this wholeheartedly with the fear of Yahweh and with faithfulness. Warn your relatives living in other cities about every case they bring to you, even if the case involves bloodshed or commands, rules or regulations derived from Moses' teachings. Then your relatives will not become guilty in front of Yahweh. Otherwise, he will become angry with you and your relatives. Do this and you won't be guilty of anything. Now the chief priests, Amariah, will be in charge of you in every matter involving Yahweh. Zebediah, who is the son of Ishmael and the leader of the tribe of Judah, will be in charge of every matter invoking the king. The Levites will serve as officers of the court. Be strong and do your job. May Yahweh be with those who do right. Chapter 20. King Jehoshaphat defeats Judah's enemies. Later, the Moabites, Ammonites, and some of the Meunites came to wage war against Jehoshaphat. Some men reported to Jehoshaphat, A large crowd is coming against you from the other side of the Dead Sea, from Edom. The crowd is already in Hazazon Tamar, also called En-Gedi. Frightened, Jehoshaphat decided to ask for Yahweh's help. He announced a fast throughout Judah. The people of Judah gathered to seek Yahweh's help. They came from every city in Judah. In the new courtyard at Yahweh's temple, Jehoshaphat stood in front of the people. He said, Yahweh Elohim of our ancestors, aren't you the Elohim in heaven? You rule all the kingdoms of the nations. You possess power and might, and no one can oppose you. Didn't you, our Elohim, force those who are living in this country out of Israel's way? Didn't you give this country to the descendants of your friend Abraham to have permanently? His descendants have lived in it and built a holy temple for your name in it. They said, If evil comes in the form of war, flood, plague, or famine, we will stand in front of this temple and in front of you because your name is in this temple. We will cry out to you in our troubles, and you will hear us and save us. The Ammonites, Moabites, and the people of Mount Seir have come here. However, you didn't let Israel invade them when they came out of Egypt. The Israelites turned away from them and didn't destroy them. They are now paying us back by coming to force us out of your land that you gave to us. You're our Elohim. Won't you judge them? We don't have the strength to face this large crowd that is attacking us. We don't know what to do, so we're looking to you. All the people from Judah, their infants, wives, and children were standing in front of Yahweh. Then the Rock Yahweh came to Jahaziel. He was the son of Zechariah, grandson of Benaiah, great-grandson of Jael, whose father was Mattaniah, a Levite descendant from Asaph. Jahaziel said, "Pay attention to me, everyone from Judah, everyone living in Jerusalem, and King Jehoshaphat. This is what Yahweh says to you. Don't be frightened or terrified by this large crowd. The battle isn't yours, it's Elohim's. Tomorrow, go into battle against them. They'll be coming up the Ziz Pass. You will find them at the end of the valley in front of the Jeruel Desert. You won't fight this battle. Instead, take your position and stand still and see the victory of Yahweh for you, Judah and Jerusalem. Don't be frightened or terrified. Tomorrow go to face them. Yahweh is with you." Jehoshaphat bowed down with his face touching the ground. Everyone from Judah and the people who lived in Jerusalem immediately bowed down in front of Yahweh. The Levites descended of Kohath and Korah stood up to praise Yahweh Elohim of Israel with very loud songs. They got up early in the morning and went to the desert of Tekoa. As they were leaving, Jehoshaphat stopped and said, "Listen to me, people of Judah and those living in Jerusalem. Trust Yahweh your Elohim and believe his prophets, and you will succeed." After he had advised the people, he appointed people to sing to Yahweh and praise him for the beauty of his holiness. As they went in front of the troops, they sang, "Thank Yahweh because his mercy endures forever." As they started to sing praises, Yahweh set ambushes against the Ammonites, Moabites, and the people of Mount Seir who had come into Judah. They were defeated. Then the Ammonites and Moabites attacked the people from Mount Seir and annihilated them. After they had finished off the people of Seir, they helped destroy one another. The people of Judah went to the watchtower in the desert and looked for the crowd. Corpses were lying on the ground. No one had escaped. When Jehoshaphat and his troops came to take the loot, they found among them a lot of goods, clothes, and valuables. They found more than they could carry. They spent 3 days collecting the loot. On the 4th day, they gathered in the valley of Berakah, because they thanked Yahweh there. That place is still called the Valley of Berakah. Thanks today. All the men of Judah and Jerusalem returned to Jerusalem. They rejoiced while Jehoshaphat led them. Yahweh gave them a reason to rejoice about what had happened to their enemies. So they brought harps, lyres, and trumpets to Yahweh's temple in Jerusalem. The fear of Elohim came over the kingdoms in that area when they heard how Yahweh waged war against Israel's enemies. Jehoshaphat's kingdom was peaceful, since his Elohim surrounded him with peace. Summary of Jehoshaphat's reign. Jehoshaphat ruled as king of Judah. He was 35 years old when he began to rule, and he ruled for 25 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Azubah, daughter of Silhi. Jehoshaphat carefully followed the example his father Asa had set and did what Yahweh considered right. But the illegal worship sites on the hills were not torn down. The people still didn't have their hearts set on the Elohim of their ancestors. Everything else about Jehoshaphat from first to last is written in the records of Jehu, son of Hanani, which is included in the book of the kings of Israel. After this, King Jehoshaphat of Judah allied himself with King Ahaziah of Israel, who led him to do evil. Jehoshaphat joined him in making ships to go to Tarshish. They made the ships in Ezion-Geber. Then Eleazar, son of Dodavahu, from Maresha, prophesied against Jehoshaphat. He said, "Yahweh will destroy your work because you have allied yourself with Ahaziah." So the ships were wrecked and couldn't go to Tarshish.